Paranoid Radio.
Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
Paranoid. Tell me, boy.
I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid. Bitch, I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid. Bunch of paranoid.
Fucking big titty having that. Bam, 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 bam.
That's the trailer right there. Testicles 1, 2, testicles.
Yes, sir. We back at it. Young Critics. Salute, Big Daddy.
Like young credits. Let's do that again. Testicles 1, 2, testicles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We back at it like young crack addicts. What's happening, partner?
There she is. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Paranoid Radio Podcast.
There she is. What you mean? Fool fucking showing titties on some more. Fool. You need to go get that training bra back put on. Fool, the fuck?
This is the best show, the best content for the best listeners. I am your humble host, Trebles Garcia, and gentlemen, and 1 to 2 is the best goals on the motherfucking planet. Big tech. Salute, salute.
Salute, my fellow Mega Mind. How you doing today, brother?
I am doing good. Everybody, this is Big Tank, the guy with the small cannon. Average, slightly above average.
Hey, fool, I got a WMD, fool, weapon of mass destruction. Don't you forget, fool. Put some respect on the name, homie.
Oh, man. Oh,
Hey, like a guy once said, fool, y el que no me crea que ponga el culo, güey. Like that.
That means, and translate that into English. People,
Hey,
like,
fuck around and find out.
That's not what it means. It's a little bit more PG-13 LGBTQ plus my dick. Oh shit. All right, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a fucking amazing episode lined up for all of you guys. It's a pre-recorded show from last week. I was supposed to drop it last week as a second dose of the week. We have an amazing special guest on deck. She's bringing fire freaking bombs with her new with her own podcast. She's also a creative director and a host and a Christian patriot fighting light warrior. She was here blessing us for about 45 minutes. But right before we jump into the main topic and I give her the introduction, I want to open up the can of whoop ass with the preview review. Now, Big Tank, set it away. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. This is where I read you a review from Apple Podcasts. and we have Tank over here on Zoom while I'm talking, promoting not only Los Cuñados Bullies, but brought to you by Paranoid Radio. You should have seen them, guys.
Drink the life of water.
The water of life, you fucking dumbass.
No, this is a life of water. All right, we be different. All right?
Oh, the other way around. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, 5 stars. 5 stars from this your girl Maya. This is your girl Maya. Loving it! Exclamation mark. I love listening to this podcast! Exclamation mark. First thing I listen to in the morning! Exclamation mark. Keep the podcast coming! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark. I love how these people are so intense. They remind me of me a little bit. Thank you so much, this your girl Maya, for this amazing, intense review. If I didn't put emphasis on this, because I'm not sure if you're coming or going, or both. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And if you guys want us to read the reviews live on the show once or twice a month, make sure you go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and drop a 5-star review and drop your review. As a matter of fact, even if it's not a 5-star review, I'll still read it on the air and we'll still give you a fucking shout out because we love our fucking haters. That is right. This is Paranoid Radio Podcast. Now let's jump onto the best segment of the motherfucking planet. Big Tank, it's a bird, it's a plane. Nope, it's Paranoid Radio. Big Tank, what is happening?
What is happening, my people? You guys know the deal. This is the best segment of the motherfucking show. Don't you guys forget to put some respect on the name.
It seems like you're talking shit about all the other segments.
Hey, I'm stating a fact. Can't be mad at the numbers. Real talk. Let's jump in. What the fuck is happening? What's going on? The world's getting crazy. What the fuck? All right, so first off, there was a bit of controversy over the weekend. You know what?
Uh-oh.
I
Okay.
will say this is hitting some type of way towards some people. It might even hit you some type of way, Trebles. Officially and unofficially, there is a proposition for the LGBTQ community to be able to spread their knowledge throughout the school system.
God damn.
Okay, hold
Was
on.
it LGBTQ or was it trans?
Well, okay, they generalized it.
Okay.
You get me?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the actual LGBTQ community, but it is the trying to incorporate some type of ideas of how things should be said. We all have to admit, is it pretty one-sided, birds and bees, male, female? Yes. You got me? Do they have a right if there's somebody of a certain age that does feel that way? Yes. Do we believe they should have the right? No. I mean, there's no way we should let a 10, 12, 14-year-old basically get their mind impressed.
So this is official tank news, and not only news, but also your point of view. Your point of view is?
My point of view is I get it and I fully understand it. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to have a voice. I mean,
Okay.
I know we were dealing this about 100 years ago, where basically certain color people didn't have a voice. We didn't have a voice. You get me? I get it. It's been real stricken. I mean, before it was only considered a gay movement. Now it's like, okay, LGBTQ community movement. I get it. You guys have fought a long way. Same could be said for the women. Same thing can be said for the colored people. For us, especially. I mean, look at it. 20 years back, the Latin community was non-existent in the music, in the TV industry in the U.S. I understand it fully. I will say it is a little harsh for you to want to impressionate somebody's young mind.
Okay.
If there happens to be somebody that does fully say, you know what, I do feel I am this certain type of way, that's something that can be addressed later if they still have that type of thing. But I do not think that at the end of the day,
at least they're underage, right? Is that what,
exactly. I mean, maybe not even underage, it's just at a mature enough mental state. You get me?
Okay.
Just at a mature enough mental state, because you have to remember, at the end of the day, when you die, your body gets thrown into the earth or whatever it is, and somebody happens to open your bones or something, they're only gonna see male or female.
Word.
That's all they're gonna see. Same
100%.
thing when the doctor classifies a baby. Well, he has a penis. I think it's a male. No, they don't say that. They say boy, girl. That's it. No middle line.
Yes.
And that's how they identify you. I get it.
Yes.
You might not feel that ideology. You might have your certain pronouns. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not even going to fight it. I understand it. Everybody has their own ideas, which is why we live in the land of the free, where you can have your own opinions. You got me? It works that way too. Don't just think that because one person can talk, now you're throwing something out you can't talk. No. But I will say,
Professor, could I say something, Professor?
Yes, sir. You down the middle with the saggy titties.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Saggy titties. What the fuck? Look. I'm going to inject two things. First of all, I agree with you. I am a type of person that you let live. I'll let you live. You let me live. I don't give a fuck what you do with your body and your private life, as long as you're not hurting anybody. Do your thing. All right. This is why it's America. This is why it's beautiful, because we all put together and we all fucking contribute and we all live our own different lifestyles. That's the American dream. Live your way, right? Cool. But I don't give a fuck what people say. The LGBTQ movement, it's not the trans movement. That's the first division. I'm gonna say something. And the trans movement is hijacking the LGBTQ movement to implement their supremacy, and that's what they want. They don't want equality. They want to be better. They want to be heard, and they want to be more.
I wouldn't
They want to
say
fucking take over kids' minds.
No, I wouldn't even
A kid
say
has an
that.
overhyped imagination. If
No,
I
I
imagine
get
today I'm
that.
gonna be
I
a
get
zebra, does not mean I'm a zebra, fool. I'm not gonna piss like a zebra.
Okay,
I'm not gonna
okay.
treat it like a zebra.
Bro, just because some people are thinking that does not mean we're gonna blame everybody.
Leave
Right.
the kids alone. Leave the
Okay,
If you
I
can't
get that,
pray
I get
in
that, I
school,
get that.
you couldn't be
But you
fucking. You
can't-
shouldn't be. No, fool.
But
You can't pray in
you
school.
can't
oh
say
God,
it's
you can't do that.
everybody. Can you say it's everybody? It's
Well,
like
no, it's in
saying-
California. Right now in California, the law passed.
Okay,
where
okay.
a kid could secretly tell the counselor, oh, I think I'm fucking bi or gay or man. And they start secretly pumping them with hormones and your family can't even know about it. And if they don't agree with you, they'll take away the kid. What the fuck?
Okay.
That's
I'll give you a
wrongful.
good. Okay, I get that. I understand that. But you cannot blame the whole trans community. You cannot blame that. You can't blame everybody for.
I know it's the government, fool. It's not the trans community. It's government, fool.
Forget the government. Forget the trans community. You cannot blame one bad apple for everything that goes wrong.
Yeah, I know. JB from Robo Media told me the same thing.
You can.
You get a vibe from the people that you know are the ones that are preying on children.
Yes.
You get a vibe from them. Not all of them are bad. Word.
Exactly. I mean, shit. I'm sure there's a bunch of
gays against groomers. Gag. They're gay. They're trans against the fucking evil trans guys. It's real.
Okay, exactly. You get me? So you can't say a full-on community. You get me?
Let me ask you something. I posted up a video where this guy is talking about being a 12-year-old girl. Okay. And then he's trans. And then he's talking about having sleepovers with 12-year-old girls. See, the problem is this. First of all, you're a grown-ass man dressing up as a girl. That's fine. Do that. Okay, that's fine. This is where I draw the line. You're a grown-ass man that's dressing like a girl, but then you're talking to 12-year-old little girls and acting like a 12-year-old little girl. If you're 40 years old and you want to be gay and you want to act like a woman, be a 40-year-old woman. Don't be a 12-year-old little girl. What does that bring to the table? You see the line? There's a very thin line you cannot cross, bro.
Okay. I understand it.
You see?
But okay, but listen. When you're talking to your baby, and I'm not defending it, when you're talking to your baby, you don't talk to her like this. You give her, I mean, baby, how you doing, me, baby? Doesn't mean you're a baby, but you're trying to get the point across. So you could also see it. You could also see it that type of way. You get me? Remember, you want to connect to your audience as well. I'm not saying it exactly like that. But for example, you're not a baby. Why are you talking to her like a baby? You get me?
Maybe because of the intent. I'm not trying to fucking make sleepovers fine with older men. That's kind of see what I'm saying.
I get that. But I'm just showing you the way they go about it.
One last thing. This is overall in general. I'm not talking shit. I'm going for the country now. If we are over here fighting because we don't know what restroom to go to, or because we don't know what our kids are when they're born, and we don't know basic human physical law about who has a penis and what a woman is, if we cannot fucking have a margin that we like separate black from white, if we don't know what the fuck and make up our minds, if we don't know how to fucking follow basic human law and physical form, what the fuck are we doing around the world? Why are we world leaders, and why are we involved in any other fucking war? You see, we should focus on our domestic social problems before we even try to help any other country. And that's probably like the bottom line for me.
Well, okay. Let's talk about that. For a country that practices freedom of speech, technically there's nothing wrong with everybody having their opinion heard, as opposed to going to other countries as they're depicted, for example North Korea, where you have to be strict and follow certain guidelines. No internet after this time. You can't search this type of thing. What would you rather have? No freedom or unlimited freedom? And even then, freedom isn't free. You know that. I know it's a double-edged sword.
It is. Now that you put it like that, yeah, I mean, I guess.
You get me? They're just practicing the freedom of speech, the freedom of the way they think. Doesn't mean it's right or it's gonna go their way, but at least they have the freedom of that. We have the freedom to do the media outlet, even though we might not be right at all. You get me?
Yeah, bro. And then we live in California. It's funny, dog. It's funny because California is probably, I would think, one of the biggest and the richest. I'm talking about gold-wise, the richest, most wealthiest with the ports and everything, and most populated states in the U.S. And it's the poorest. It has the highest fucking homeless, the highest low wages, the highest fucking unemployment rates. It's the dirtiest, dog. And
it does not have the lowest wages. I'll tell you that right now.
It has the lowest labor. What's it called when you're unemployed?
Oh, unemployed. Look it up. I'll agree with that. I'm like,
it's fucking weird.
I was about to throw you Arizona, Nevada. I mean, shit, minimum
but when
wage.
You throw
right
the
there,
wages
like,
out, okay, but the cost of living is different too, though. You mean that it's balanced, right? You buy $4 a milk here, you over there it's $2.50.
Okay, yes. Well, no, not necessarily like that. You get me? But you also have to take into the effect of the way things are over there. You have to waste more gas. I mean, for example, you go to Victor, where you have your AC running basically the full year. You get me? So it's
it'll bite you somewhere else. Yeah, I get you. It'll always come back around.
Bro, you could go to Chili's and get a steak for under $15-20. You get me? Or you could go to fucking Fogo de Chao and get a prime steak for $50. It's whatever
You're making me
you
hungry,
want
dog.
to pay. Whatever you want to pay, big dog. You get me? You
This
can't be mad
conversation
at
is
that.
developing into a full fucking episode. Give me your second dose. What is happening? What you got next, big dog?
Big dog, I'm gonna be honest with you. Right now, what's the number one thing that we can live without? Technology. Okay. How would you feel?
I was gonna say you, but whatever.
This motherfucker. Stop it. You're making me blush. Stop it.
Oh, stop it.
Technology. We can't just live without technology. I mean, if Wi-Fi goes down for even a couple hours, big dog, we're fucking blowing our minds out. What the fuck can we do?
Word.
They did a study where they decided to take away these recreational parks, close them down indefinitely for I think it was about a week. See what type of reaction they had.
People didn't
guess
give a
what?
fuck, huh?
People didn't give a fuck. There was no petitions. There was no fighting. There was nothing. Bro,
They have us under full control, dog. Wow.
No, that's our own mindset. Let's be honest about it. Don't blame anybody else because you're stuck on your phone trying to watch some TikToks. You don't blame the world that because you want to be playing Call of Duty 24/7. I remember, I shit you not, big dog. I remember Tuesdays and Thursdays, my pops would take us to the park. Those were the regular scheduled days. We get home, we eat, do our homework, 4:30, boom, sayonara, sucker, let's go.
Yeah.
I remember that shit. Going to go play basketball with your boys or something. You get me? Before you got into the whole girl phase in high school. Hey, what are we doing today? Just being out and about. Bro, there were so many parks and schools around you that you could just go and kick it.
Blazing.
Play.
Kick it.
And let's keep it a little bit more innocent. Running around the jungle gym, some of the best times, you get me? I mean, the only reason kids do that at school is because they have nothing better to do because they're not allowed technology in school. Well, at that time, you get me? They sort of get put, and that's when they're happy. They did all this, and guess what? Nobody compared. Nobody complained. There was no, they're trying to control us. They're trying nothing.
Wow.
That really shows how fucked up our mindsets have become. Because nobody, hey, be honest.
We live in an interesting life, dog. Because we're millennials, bro. We've seen the end of an era where you would kick it outside
until dark, big dog. Until dark.
You know those big metal boxes that have, those big metal boxes that are on the sidewalk and they control sometimes the lights. You would sit on those metal boxes, eat your nachos and hot Cheetos with fucking cheese, and kick it till like 3 in the afternoon, and go back and watch fucking Pokemon, and then at 6 you come back out and play some dodgeball again. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I remember going through that phase and then receiving my first fucking Sony Ericsson fucking phone, and then getting it, then starting texting, and then T9ing, and then eventually, now that we're stuck on our phones day in, day out. And then after the pandemic, and I call it plandemic, I saw that phase completely be destroyed. My nephews, I have 12 nephews, dog. I have 2 kids.
No.
They don't
it's
play
been happening.
outside.
It's been happening. They could have played outside if they wanted to. They're not chained up in the house.
There's no toys in that house. I went to visit my dad's house.
That's their problem. That's their problem. Let's be honest about it. You get me? Hey, you have to admit, who buys all the TV, the screens?
Depends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get me? Hey, but
you could implement that, right?
Let's be honest about it. Okay? As you have a kid growing up, sometimes you want to take a relax, a little breather. You'll turn on their favorite cartoon show on the TV. You'll give them the tablet or something just to calm them down a little. That's our own thing. You have to remember, when we were watching TV growing up, there was only certain times shows came on and then they would turn off. We didn't have this fast access to it 24/7 running, whether it be YouTube or all these sites. So you can't blame that. You get me? You really can't. You did it out of love, 110%, but it's actually hurting them.
Let me ask you something. Do you think in the near future, in the next couple of, let's say 2-3 generations, do you think that kids are gonna evolve. Okay, so what I mean by that is this. You know how our pinky is having this indent right here, so our phone can fit right here. Okay, so if our bodies are already evolving to hold a phone for long periods of time, do you think that we're gonna be born with Wi-Fi receivers?
No.
Like a type of evolution where the human body starts to receive signals of frequencies through Wi-Fi lengths or whatever.
I could see it. I could see it causing maybe headaches or something. You get me? Because you're so in tune to it, you need it. So maybe when you go out of range, maybe it'll affect you that type of way. Oh, I don't feel good.
Like a drug.
I can see. Yes, I can see that. You get me? I don't think us personally picking something up. I think that's too radiation. I think that's too mechanically inclined per se.
Let's talk about transhumanism, dog.
All right, big dog. This was fun. This is what has happened. I gave you guys 2 stories. It went on for quite some time, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys don't, I don't give a fuck. Till next time.
That is right, Big Tank. Thank you for those 2 amazing stories. As always, doing an amazing job. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have so much to tell you in an amazing episode lined up with an amazing special guest. Underground geopolitical parties, conspiracy theories, and spoiler alerts are so much more. Join us for an unapologetic conversation where we disclose hidden truths from the world leader as they try to eliminate the essence of God from society and feed the League of Elite bankers that only care about leading the populace to mental and spiritual slavery. I've had the privilege to speak with amazing speakers from around the world through this podcast. Moreover, I've had the honor of serving you, the listeners, in this narrow road to reality. And today I have this absolute pleasure to speak with another amazing voice and talented speaker. With a great emotion, I would like to introduce a fellow freedom fighting podcaster, host, and director of her own daily show, focusing on hot topics and details you're not given by the mainstream media. Please give a paranoid welcome to Brooke from the Outlook by Brooke podcast show.
Thanks for having me.
That was a hard intro, dude. Normally I spit it out very easily, but I got stuck today. Maybe starstruck. How's it going, Brooke?
It's going well.
Now, I understand that you have your own podcast show that's called The Outlook by Brooke, by Brooks, and you could find it on Spotify, and you could also find it on Apple Podcasts and so many other platforms, right? And I also understand that it's a daily show and it's very easily digestible because it's only 10 to 15 minutes long daily, right?
Yeah.
So
I post probably like 2-3 times a week, more if necessary, because this world is obviously gone mad. But the inspiration for it was, changing the world, giving the meat and the potatoes of the content of what's going on in this world, the conspiracy theories that are fixing to come true, and the truth that you aren't being told on mainstream media, all in about the same time that it takes you to drive home from work and change this world so that my kids, your kids, everyone's kids can grow up in a better world than what we had. We just didn't know it.
Oh, wow. So she had that prepared. Let them know. So I understand also that people cannot find you now on Instagram because they shut you down. Okay, so what's going on?
Yeah. So, I posted a tweet. Like, it was a picture of a tweet. I didn't even comment under it. There was no, it was just a picture of a tweet. And which is, I found very interesting. They took down my Outlook by Brooke podcast, for my podcasting Instagram, and they also took down my personal Instagram.
Wait, okay, so they went in deep.
Yeah.
Do you have it linked? Do you have it linked somehow?
I do have it linked, but I don't post anything geopolitical on my personal Instagram. It's more for like family purposes and stuff like that. But they took that down too.
That's crazy because I have mine connected to mine and my co-host's a personal account. Same thing with me. I don't use my personal account for anything else because I have like family members there and et cetera, et cetera. I use it to promote the episodes here and there, but I've been banned a couple of times and flagged on the paranoid also as well. And it's kind of like it's shaky because it took 3 years for us to get only 700 to 800 viewers, at least followers on Instagram, and they put a stop on you. And it's not because you're doing something wrong. Well, to them, it's wrong, but it's because you have something that gets them to feel threatened, right? You have some type of information that's gonna, rock the cages for them, just like, we always do. So where can people find you now? And let us know a little bit about your podcast for the people that do not know you. And I also know that you've been featured on the Cult of a Conspiracy podcast a lot. You're like the deep state correspondent.
Yes. So
Shout outs to them. The boys are awesome.
I love the boys of the Cult of Conspiracy. They are actually like what really gave me my start. I wasn't really interested in podcasting, and I was talking to Jacob somewhere, and it was about some deep dive stuff. And he was like, okay, I hear all the stuff you're saying, but can you say it again, but like on my podcast? And so that's kind of how that started for me. And then eventually they said, you still have to come on all the time, but you really should consider making your own podcast.
Yeah.
Because they were like, we feel like you would do well. And so I prayed on it. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this, because a conversation-based podcast is very easy and fluent and you bounce off of each other. But podcasting by myself, I'd be talking to no one. Like, I don't know what that would look like. Well, the Lord knew what he was doing. You know, my mom, dad, they named me Brooke, and I'm quite literally a babbling brook. So I just had so many attacks come like at me and my family, like not like necessarily what someone would consider like spiritual attacks. There were no like demons in my room or anything like that. It was more of like sickness, finances, like work schedule, just like crazy things all in 1 month. And so I'm like, well, let me launch my podcast. Let me give some real thought to it and see what happens. And as soon as I launched it, all of these attacks that were coming towards me just stopped.
How do you translate that? Do you think that was an evil entity trying to provoke you not to, or fall into more temptation, or was it God trying to tell you, yo, snap into it, you know?
Yeah, well, there's definitely two ways to look at it. You can look at it as like an adversary trying to like hold you back or keep you down, or you can look at it as like God providing a safety net because I chose to do what he wanted.
Man, you elevated those. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. I was able to do my homework and binge listen to at least 6 episodes. They're very easily digestible. I'm telling you, the listeners need to check you out. The Brooke by Outlook on podcast, all podcast platforms, and she's amazing. So make sure you want to get your daily dose on geopolitical stuff, deep dives. She does it all. Now, okay, Brooke, so let's jump into it. There's a lot to talk about, and this is going to be a bonus episode dropping on Friday morning this week. I think it's the 6th or 7th on the morning. So I got something when I was listening to Cult of Conspiracies. I listen to them regularly. They do a lot of podcasts every week, so I try to catch glimpses. And when you're there, I definitely listen to them. You have this white hat theory that it's really intriguing, and I like your point of view. I want to add on to that as soon as you put it out. So you think that there's a situation where North Korea, Russia, and China, amongst others, are doing something right to dismantle the West, and you think that they're good guys? Give me a little bit more about that.
Yes. So actually, you can go and look back at footage of Trump when he was fixing to be running for president, announcing his candidacy when he won, and the 4 years following, because they do kind of like a tour where they go and meet different political leaders. So the first thing that I want to point out is that he very blatantly said that he had over 200 military generals backing him. That's how he told Hillary Clinton that he was sure that he could win against her.
Okay.
And
sounds like devolution.
So they asked Trump to run. It wasn't really necessarily something that he aspired to do. There was even a clip of him back in like the 80s on Oprah where he said he didn't think that he would ever want to run for president. And so the military asked him to run. Yeah. You definitely can't run everything that you have business wise and be president. That's for sure. That presidency is a full-time job. But so then he becomes president, and you can notice in all of his meetings, he's like either like handing off red folders, or even like the posture or the body language of the opposing, like the other country, the leader of the other country, how they would be postured towards him. And it was different than it was with the Bush administration, the Obama administration.
This is interesting. Okay.
And so started like digging into that and seeing like, why is there this difference? Because everybody loved Trump until he ran for president. And now all of these large figures don't really care for him. And so when I kind of got down to the root of the situation, I found out that a lot of the conversations when he would go to meet these world leaders would go something like, hey, I'm the new president of the United States. I've done my research on my country. I've done my, my rundown on your country. And I realized that you are doing some bad things to your people. You have dumps underneath the grounds. You have adrenochrome farms. You have biolabs.
Wow.
A, B, C, D, and E. And basically, like, I have a large strength of military that would like to clear this out and make it a safer world. You can either be part of that, or I can expose you to your country and they'll hang you for, what you are.
Okay. And I've seen him do that. I've seen him do that with the NATO allies as well. I think it was the first year of his term, he came down, he said, you guys need to pay what you guys owe. You guys need to pay what is due, right? And what you guys need to pay. And then for our protection, or else, this is going to get dismantled. He was pretty upright when he wanted to put America first. Sorry to interrupt. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no, and that is a good point, because he does hold his stance very firmly. And I believe every meeting he goes in with intention. Mm-hmm. It was never like, let me fly to China, tell him, hey, eat dinner. He went into some of the most like sanctified cities that like nobody could ever be in, and meet leaders like Kim Jong-un, where we weren't allowed in his country for years.
Yes.
But some of these people actually, they have well intentions, but didn't want to do business with the Western world because of what our country literally looks like, what it stands for. Look at how our Hollywood is portraying and sexualizing everything in children. Like, they don't want to be a part of that. They don't want that in their countries. They don't allow that to be seen in China or in, North Korea, in Russia. And so a lot of these leaders were excited about the thought of changing the world and being the savior of their own specific country. And some of them were more apprehensive, of course, because it's a very big undertaking. And so that's where kind of the plan started to take off. But the plan actually goes all the way back. They had like white hats technically in the CIA, the FBI, the military.
What is a white hat for the people that are not sure? What is a white hat?
White hats are going to be like your patriotic, like not fear mongering, no psyops. Like they want freedom, they want family, they believe in the Constitution, and they will use their jobs to accomplish what's for the greater good rather than what their end of the year bonus would look like.
There it is. Yeah.
So this all dates back to like the JFK assassination. Some people say that his son's still alive. Some, that's a conspiracy in itself. But he did always say that he would get revenge for his father's death. And so a lot of people don't really look into why JFK was assassinated. And there were several reasons why, but one of the biggest was that he was going to sign Nasara Jasara, and that was going to give us gold-backed currency and a lot of power in the US. However, it would kill a lot of their industries.
He also put out, I think it was $3.6 billion in silver money, in silver dollars that bypassed the Federal Reserve. He put it in case something happened, those grow in value, and that could be the fallback for the United States currency. As a matter of fact, if you go right now to the United States government, the debt, I think it's called the USdebt.gov, I believe. It's not the trading money. The monetization is not under Federal Reserve anymore. It's now U.S. Treasury currency treasury now. So it changed for some reason. It happened five nights ago. It's weird. It's crazy stuff.
And so obviously we have like Russia, they're out there. Mainstream media makes them out to be terrible people, but they are cleaning out the dumps. They are rescuing children. They are shutting down biolabs. Like they are doing what needs done, and it just looks kind of terrible the way that our media spins it. But then we have China, we have North Korea, and it's interesting now in this part of the plan to see how they are all coming together. And for the American people to kind of freak out a little bit and say, oh my gosh, like we're left out of this great big party, like we're going to get like ran over. Well, yeah, probably so, because Joe Biden's eating ice cream. But we do have some small countries that are part of like this movement, like Prince Ben Salman.
Okay.
He was supposed to be taken out, actually. Like, our government was going to kill him. He was going to stay in the top floors of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. That's the same time they had the shooting at the Jason Aldean concert.
Vegas.
Yes.
Wait, okay, so this is where that conspiracy theory comes in. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, explain.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So he was supposed to stay in the top floors there, right? And no one would notice that there was a shooting on the top floor if they were shooting out of the window, right? So that was kind of the deep state's cover up for what would happen.
Oh God, here
And
it is.
so Trump got wind of that and redirected Ben Salman's plane straight to the White House, showed him the proof. And in their culture, if someone saves your life, you owe your allegiance to them. And so the crown prince is on with the Q plans and helping Donald Trump kind of like underneath the radar.
Is this why they heard allegedly choppers in Vegas while the
Probably
shooting was
has
happening?
something to do with it. Yeah.
That's insane. Oh my God. Okay, so that's pretty cool. That's a bomb. I didn't know. So off topic, let me ask you something. What's your take on NATO? I feel sometimes like I was telling the guys earlier, this has been the most systematic and prolonged long-term plan to destroy America from within, not only with its culture, with its society, with its industry, with its infrastructure, but also with its politics. And I feel like NATO, it's a leech, bro. It's leeching off the abundance of the US, and we're dumb by giving them that so-called protection, and rules and paperwork gets thrown out the window when it comes to power and money. And whenever there's power and money and government involved, there's less freedom for everybody. I feel like that's what's happening in some sort of way. We just got Finland on, I think it was like 2 nights ago, that Finland joined NATO forces. Now we're and they're building a giant border for Russia. I mean, we're poking the bear, man, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I even think about this in a spiritual sense, kind of, because, you know, there is no like currency for like the angelic realm or like, you know, hell or heaven. There's no currency. Like, I guess you could say their form of currency is like worship and power and love. Like, you love God, like that is giving him power, that is empowering to him, and the enemy feeds off of that too. And so NATO, what we see is basically embodying that spirit of needing power and control and love of these people, you know, for them to love the plan that NATO is putting out. And I just feel like it's almost like the most demonic entity for our like side of the world.
That's deep.
Yeah.
We're on the same page. So a couple of things that have been happening lately, and I wanted to touch base with you. DiCaprio talking about Obama, and I must add on that, there's a lot of things, speculation also, and there's been whistleblowers that from the military that say that Osama bin Laden was never caught. And there's a reason why Obama threw his casket with his body dead in the ocean. So allegedly nobody could worship him, right? But we didn't see anything, dude.
Yeah.
So at this point, you throw me that type of conspiracy theory, I'm gonna believe it, and I'm gonna deep dive and I'm gonna research it, because there's behind every legend, there's myth, there's some type of history.
Yeah, I think he went on to work in like the CIA or FBI or something. Like they did scoop him up. They didn't put him in the ocean. They actually put him working for the US government.
They expunged him just like the Nazis? Wow.
Basically, yes. Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, so let's see what's going on. Give me a moment here. Okay. So what's give me a moment. All right, give me a moment here. Sorry. Okay.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Why do you think this is happening? Because I also know that while we were all focused on the Donald Trump, and even us, conspiracy theorists, even Trumpers, right? We were all focused on Donald Trump. There was things happening with Leonardo DiCaprio and things around the world. I think a week ago was when Zelensky went to Austria, I believe, and people walked down when he started speaking. So there's a massive movement of people waking up right now across the globe, right?
Yeah. I think it's very interesting because Deep State definitely chose a very specific date for Donald Trump to have to go through this arraignment, knowing that there was also going to be and I'm going to put this at, if they're even still alive, if this didn't happen 10 years ago and it's just now hitting the media. So Leonardo DiCaprio goes, he said that this Fuji, whatever rapper, Michelle something, whatever his last name is. So he basically helped Obama embezzle millions of dollars for his 2012 campaign. And so Leonardo DiCaprio was attesting to the fact that did happen. Well, what's interesting is simultaneously we're setting a precedent that a ex-president can be indicted. And so what happens by the end of the day is he's like, I'm President Obama, but I'm going to go to Kenya for a year. I have my flight booked for June. And so it's all, in my opinion, I feel like we're watching a theater of sorts,
Right. Okay.
The deep state doesn't want information leaked at certain times, but sometimes it just happens. And not only that, but it's just too coincidental for all of this to happen in the same day. And you could say it's a coincidence if, Obama and Leonardo DiCaprio, like that whole scenario happens the same day as Trump. But then for the same day, for him to say he's leaving to go to Kenya, and then the key drops say that he's gonna have to say that he is Kenyan in order to try to leave the country.
What? Oh,
yes.
Oh, wait, pause. Wait, he's not Hawaiian?
No.
Okay. Wait. This is so funny. The movie The Matrix dropped on the 30th of March in 1999, the day that Andrew Tate was released. The day that this commotion train of indictment and Donald Trump falling, but this will make Trump part of the system then, part of the theater.
Yeah. And that's what I think a lot of people get hung up on, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, you're pro-Trump. Well, yes, I'm going to absolutely give credit where credit is due until he does something that is anti-America or anti-freedom. I'm going to continue to support him. I'm not going to say I'm going to be an always Trump, but as long as he's doing his job, I'm going to support him.
Absolutely.
And so, but what people don't understand is that he is a chess piece in the game. He is the face of the operation, but he is not the whole operation. Okay.
That goes deep. A lot of people tell me the same thing. I'm Latino. I'm a product of immigration. And by default, I'm supposed to be blue. I'm supposed to be liberal. I'm supposed to be pro-Biden. I am not that person. I'm a contributor to the system. So I get to speak right and wrong about my people and right and wrong about the flag that I stand for. I am pro-Trump. Absolutely. And now that I see things happen, because people say, oh, you know what? You have to marginalize people. You have to be pro-trans and this and that, which puts me to the next point. You have to let the kids be kids and learn what they want. Like, no, you're tripping. No, you need discipline. You were talking to me about this in the text messages where your dad brought you up, right? If I could disclose this to the public,
go for it.
You said you came up tough. You came off with the background of your father brought you up with morals, with values, and with strength, right? So that's what you have to put out. And look at you. You're probably a well-being woman, and the next generation after you is going to be well-risen as well. Same thing with me. Okay, so not all the bad apples, not all the apples on the tree are bad, right? But I strongly believe, you have to let the kids be kids, but you don't have to indoctrinate them. And the thing is now that I'm awake and not woke, I'm awake now and I could see things. Now I could do something about it and stop. And now that I'm a father full time, I could definitely put my face in front, and over my dead body, you're going to touch my kids mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually. You know what I'm saying? So
that's how I feel too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've seen, especially TikTok has been a good platform for people to openly speak, which is another reason why they don't like it. Sources say Donald Trump may in fact buy it. We'll see. But I've seen a lot on TikTok here lately that just people from literally every different background, people from the Black community, the Asian community, the white community, the Latina community, just all over, really supporting the fact that it doesn't matter what color you are, what background you come from, what, part of society, are you middle class, are you low class, are you high class? It doesn't matter. What matters is that, we come together at this point in time and accomplish this mission, because it can't be done with us divided. And that's why they've kept us divided for so long. So it's okay that your roots come back from another country, and maybe more recent than mine, because my ancestry is more French, German, and Irish. So at one point my family was imported too. We've just been here longer. I don't think that gives me any more right or less right, to be a patriot for your own country.
Yeah. You mentioned, so this dude is from Kenya, which means that if Donald Trump survives this, which I know he will, they can't put him in jail. They won't. It'll be right. It'll be chaos. So let's say Donald Trump survives this, which will, again. And Obama is running around in Kenya. He admits to be Kenyan.
Yeah,
Donald Trump
he just
could indict him.
Slips it in there.
He could indict not only Obama, but Joe Biden's family.
Yeah.
Clinton, Hillary Clinton,
all of them.
It's just a snowball effect. Flash was telling me this, that it's just him setting the precinct. How do you say this? The plan. And he had to go through it, sacrifice himself, and go through the whole process, waste the money because he's throwing money out, and then set the mood for when he gets power and gets put back into the office in another 4 years.
Yeah. What I was saying, constantly, I have a friend that I met through podcasting. We talk a lot because she is a lot like me, but she just lives on the other half of the US. And so we were sitting there, and she had the arraignment live on RSB and on her TV, and so did I. And we're just talking about what we see and loving the multitude of colors of people on the screen supporting, out there.
Okay.
Or even the peacefulness of some of the people that disagreed. We were literally loving it. But I was saying, even if he got arrested, I would still be excited. And the reason or the mindset behind that is because that just means that we're moving forward. We're moving forward into maybe an unplanned direction. But hear me out. If in the next 2 months he were to get arrested for something that is rightly or wrongly accused, that puts him in a jail cell. Which means if the whole world crashes and goes to hell in a handbasket, they have one person they can't point their finger at. And you know who that is? It's him.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very beautiful way to see it. And I'm so
trusting the plan 100%.
Yeah, you're looking at the whole planning perspective, and you're observing the multitude of colors. You said it, the people there. There's more than just what the reporter is saying out loud and a bunch of little graphics that are passing in the screen. There's the people, and a lot of people just watch TV, and since their senses are being bombarded by the same message back to back. Repetition is the key of learning, right?
Yeah.
People are just believing, and they're looking at everything in the blue scale. And I keep saying blue because I don't want to talk smack about the Democrats, people, the regular public out here, like a lot of people that I know, my family members and stuff. I'm talking crap about the blue political people. That's what I'm saying. So yeah. So it's crazy. No, I love the idea, and I know you're very passionate about QAnon. You've mentioned QAnon about 4 times already. I need to know more about QAnon. I wanted to make an entire episode about QAnon. Maybe you could set the mood for that. This is random off the top of the dome.
No, you're good. I think it's good to ask for sure, especially because your viewers may have heard it in such a bad light in the mainstream media that they've maybe been afraid to dig through the Q drops. Yeah. And so basically this started on a 4chan, 8chan board where this person or collective group of people, which in my opinion is probably ex or current CIA, FBI, Secret Service, people who have had Q clearance, which is the highest clearance that you can have for information, for intel. They've come together and finally just said, let's just start dropping these breadcrumbs, and maybe people will start to research. Maybe people will look into what the meaning is behind these words or learn to decode. And we took it and we ran with it, and we found every single way to possibly take apart these words and figure out what they mean and why they're there. And it's caused a lot of research upon the patriot community. And there's a lot of things that are future proofs past. So Q will say oh, this will happen. And then, it's been 5
That's true.
years or so since
Mhm.
the Q board had originated. And so some people were like, oh, well, that was dropped 3 years ago and nothing happened. So what about
Yeah.
now?
Mhm.
Well, now we're seeing probably more drops than ever come to fruition.
Yeah. Same thing with
It's
the Bible. You
yeah,
can't just discredit it. You can't throw it away. It sets the tone, and it makes sure that you live in a certain pattern of life. And something that Flash mentioned to me earlier was, yeah, history probably doesn't repeat, but it does sure rhyme, and things are happening
yeah.
for a reason. We need to stick together in this movement. So QAnon, in my perspective, I think QAnon, not a full follower of QAnon. To be honest with you, the only reason I know this much about QAnon is because of people like you, Flash,
Yeah.
and other conspiracy theorists, right, in the community. But I'm gonna tell you
Mhm.
something. There's something that QAnon did is allow for more grand scale mass of people to wake the F up. They
Mhm.
woke up, and even if
Yeah.
let's just put an example out there, hypothetically speaking, that QAnon is fake or is controlled opposition, which that's what I believed in before. It still helped. It still worked against them because now there's so many people looking into the stuff. And now, for
Yeah.
example, myself, that I accept and I embrace what the idea of Trump is. Trump could die today or go to, like you said, go to jail, right? Today. But his
Mhm.
movement, his legacy will continue.
Yeah,
As the
it's not going to
first president that
stop.
did this. Exactly. We're setting the tone
Yeah.
for the next years to come. This has been great, Brooks. Is there anything else that you want to bring onto the table? I wanted to speak to you about what was your take on the farmland being bought off by elite bankers?
So we actually have the same exact situation here in America.
Mhm.
There's a large portion of our land that actually is owned by the Chinese. And so with that being said, once this Nisar Jasara settles itself in and the war crimes that have been perpetrated over the last 50 years comes in, I believe it's all going to shake out. Every country's going to have all of their land back, and people will actually want to farm because they're scared that we're going to go through something like this where there's shortages again. People want to live like the olden times, you know. But it's just a process of getting there. All the gold's got to go to all the right places, all the land's got to go to all the right places. And I do believe behind the scenes it's set up and ready to go by now. I believe that a lot of what you're seeing right now is going to be optics. They have to make people kind of freak out a little bit. If you stay in a state of everything's going to be okay, everything's going to be okay, everything's going to be okay for so long, when it's not okay, what do you do? And so that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to shake the local people up there to say, okay, it's not okay to just be a sheep for the rest of your life. You can't just depend on us. You know, our political leaders now, even though we might have like 5 good ones, in 20 to 30 years, they're not going to be there anymore. Who are we going to put in?
Yeah. So you have hope. You have hope that
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
not
yeah.
just all black pill, right?
No. I am more optimistic in the way that I look at things.
Okay.
I would say like optimistically realist. So I look for any type of comms or any sort of light at the end of the tunnel that will confirm what all of the patriots have been hoping for so long. And when I find it, I get very excited. And the certain aspects that I haven't seen the light at the end of the tunnel or whatever, you know, the little breadcrumbs that I'm looking for, I'm just okay with being patiently, like just awaiting the blessings that are to come. If they're big, if they're small, I just want freedom. I want consistency. I want no more fear porn. I want less drugs. Like I do understand certain medications are good for your body to heal it, not all, but I want like less infiltration in the country. There's so many things that I know I have to be patient to wait on for the world to change.
Are you almost over this conspiracy theory world? Are you almost over it?
No, I always love whenever somebody sends me down a new rabbit hole, I will look and look and look until I cannot find anything new for weeks. Just because I feel like you learn one thing and then it gives you 10 new questions.
Yeah.
So every rabbit hole is unique, but they all tie in together. And so the further you keep looking, the more excited I get because there's like many rabbit holes within rabbit holes.
And then the past ones, you do start doing research, you're like, what? Wait.
Yeah.
You open more doors. It's crazy. Off record, we were talking about your favorite conspiracy theory. and I want to
Mhm.
get the rest of that story. Tell me again,
Okay.
start all over with the story. Give me a little bit about you. Like, what's your favorite conspiracy theory, and why'd you choose that one? What's going on? What'd you find? What's going on?
Okay, so my favorite conspiracy theory is the Nephilim. And I find it so funny that it's considered a conspiracy theory because there are pictures from the 1800s, the early 1900s of these large, very large people. And they're like, oh no, that never happened. Like giants don't exist. Like the tallest person, the world's tallest man, look in the Guinness Book of Records. Like they never had 12-foot beings.
Yeah.
But we have soldiers that say like the Kandahar giant did exist. They did take him down, but and in the local culture there, they said the Kandahar giant was a cannibal. You couldn't go outside late at night because you may not come back.
Where was this?
It's in Kandahar. I think it's Afghanistan.
Okay,
Iraq.
during the Iraqi war.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the first thing the US did, instead of going in and taking over their government, looking for their leaders, taking out their soldiers, what the US government did actually went into all of the places where they had like archaeological finds, like museums and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember reading about this.
Yeah, and sources say that when the Kandahar giant was taken down, they actually had a military style like helicopter that pretty much picked up this body on this large crate. They had to like curl him up in a ball, and they had to send him to a different country for like an analysis, and then they took his remains back to the US, which kind of opens up a whole other rabbit hole because they think it was the remains of Nimrod or Gilgamesh, which is mentioned in the Bible, and which actually would make a whole lot of sense, like with the Antichrist and them trying to like mix things in our blood right now with the mRNA shots. Like, are they going to try to get DNA off of this skeletal remains? Because they're not skeletal remains. They're actually very well preserved, almost in a point of stasis. And so since then, I did some more digging, and apparently they have these giants underground in these deep underground military bases. And who's to say that they're not the ones giving the orders to the World Economic Forum? You know, who's to say that they're not the ones giving us the chaos that we have, telling, because they don't live for just 80 years. They live for thousands of years. They've seen World War I, World War II. They've seen it. They're going at it at a completely different angle. And would they be okay to go away for a couple hundred years so that they could trick the people? Well, the Bible says that it'll be like the days of Noah and the end times, and this world's looking kind of crazy. How are people going to react if they see 12-foot beings just walking around?
We have a theory on that, and I have an episode on season 1. The last episode of season 1 was, I think it was the 20th or 19th episode. We went short on that season. We weren't going to survive that long. The point is, it's called Orgasmic Celestials, and we dove deep on what the Nephilim were, origins, but biblically, right? And what they might be today. And we have concluded on a theory. This is a Paranormal Radio Podcast exclusive theory. Yeah, we're going to plan on that. we think away from Dr. Sanger, which I mentioned to you too, we're going to jump into that. Right? I went into how Big Tank and I spoke on how the Nephilim bloodline, there's still some big ones that survived, but then you have their generations after them, the Nephilim of the Nephilim, the Nephilim, I want to say, baby generations, right? Yeah. And they have all been infiltrated through the entertainment industry, bankers, political. And you think about it, this is kind of what happened is the elites, the monarchs, right? The people that maintain incest, right? That they practice different things, that try to stay in power through bloodlines. And not only that, for example, I mean, we all know that Obama and Bush are connected somehow through the bloodline, through their DNA. That's not a theory. That's actually fact. So people can look this up. So when we spoke about the Nephilim still being alive, is their bloodline trickles down to the elites that are in power today. Even though they're not huge and big boned and what we think Cyclops and so, what we would think what a giant would look like, their bloodline still is Nephilim, a product of the fallen one.
Yeah.
So at this point, and then Dr. Laura Sanger had a very interesting point on a view. She says that they are still introducing slavery still to this day through the Federal Reserve System and other systems implemented throughout all of human history. So it's not just not biblically, right, but religiously. And the whole purpose is to disconnect us from their creator. It's the same story being told back and forth. When I speak with a flat earther, they tell me the same thing. They want to disconnect you from the creator. I talk about Nephilim. I talk about religion. I jump into the Bible. we talk about being disconnected from the creator. It all comes back to the root. The biggest lie, the biggest deceit is being disconnected from our divine creation, the creator, right? It's crazy. It's absolute nuts.
And I think like another thing that is so important, because so many Christians think about like, oh, like the days of Noah when they had, you know, these giants roaming earth. Well, we had like a however long 300 cubits or whatever of a boat, and all of them were gone. Like all the Nephilim died. Well, I think that there's two really important things to point out. Angels mated with humans to create Nephilim.
Yes.
A flood does not kill an angel. It kills Nephilim and humans. So then you go and you do the genealogy, and Noah's great grandson was Gilgamesh or Nimrod, whichever context you're looking at it in.
Even they're
so
connected?
Obviously, yes. So well, it wasn't Noah, it was his great grandson. So it was generations later, but his great grandson was a Nephilim, because these fallen angels were still mating with humans after the flood.
So our theory connects, dude. So they are still around. I knew it. I knew it. See, our gut feeling, I'm telling you. And when we were doing that that episode, the lights went out and our system fell. We had to restart all over. It's so funny. It's so funny. I'm so intense when it comes to us being right. Like I told you, the beginning of this year and still to this day, year to date, we are now like talking about the things that are happened before, that are happening in the future, present day, and that we're being right. And look, it's a time to be afraid only of God. There's nothing that can hurt you. Spiritually, you're saved. God accepted all of this to happen. He's giving you free will, free range to make your own decisions. If you're walking the right path, there is nothing that can hurt you, nothing that could touch you in God's name. And I declare that. And I walk like that every single day. And I put that upon my family. There's nothing that can hurt you. And even no matter what plan they have, truth will always prevail. And it's always going to set you free. And that's that is probably the hardest message.
And that was, I don't know, thousands of years ago. And today we have modern minds that can make sense of even what's hidden. You know, it's actually a very beautiful thing.
Absolutely. The Outlook by Brooks. I need to know where the listeners can find you one more time. I need to make this into an echo chamber about Brooks, about the Outlook by Brooke. Again, I've listened to your episode on Culture of Conspiracies. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like hardcore conspiracies, you need to check out Culture of Conspiracies. Shout out to Jacob and Jonathan, because they're amazing dudes. They're very humble. I've been on their show once. They've been on mine twice. We have blown it up, destroyed and obliterated the sound waves on all podcast platforms. They're amazing. But through them, I also got connected to Brooke. And now the Outlook by Brooke, the podcast, even though her Instagram is shut down, is there any other platforms or social media sites where people could find you?
Yes. Yes, I am on Truth Social at Brooke Petrie. Petrie is a French last name, so it's not probably the easiest to spell, but it's Pitre.
Okay.
Yep. And then you can find my podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Anchor.
This episode drops on Friday morning, and the description on the show, you'll have all the links to your podcast, specifically where people can find you. And I really encourage everybody to drop reviews and reach out to her and excuse me, and let her know what you think. And I want to thank you so much for sharing your energy, your time, and my platform with me, with you, and with us for the listeners. Your knowledge is amazing, and I need you to keep doing what you're doing, because now you have a fan in me, and I'm gonna start listening to your podcast on a daily basis.
Yes, I'm not gonna quit.
Yeah. You know what? You're put here for a reason. We met for a reason, and we're gonna expand for a reason. And there's a lot of things that you're here for, and you're fulfilling them. And you know, and I feel that you have great potential. So you gotta put it out. Let's do it.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, Brooks. Thank you so much for being here, Brooke. Sorry, and the Outlook by Brooke. Make sure you check us out. This is Paranoid Radio Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody, and check us out at paranoidradio.com. Peace out. See you guys next week.